Southeastern Florida Peninsula. Across southern Florida, a southern stream shortwave riding over a mid-level low in the central Gulf is drifting east-northeast and weakening as it spreads into North Florida today. In response, a mid to upper level trough will propagate across the peninsula into Friday. At the surface, an east-northeasterly low-level ridge keeps flow onshore today, with a shift towards southerly tomorrow as the ridge axis moves east. In practical terms, the result is deep layer moisture increasing, yet with little organized forcing over the Florida interior today. So rain chances are low, 20 to 30%, and confined mainly to the immediate east coast. Highs remain in the mid-80s, lows in the 70s along the coast, and upper 60s inland. Coastal operations should note that king tide anomalies are pushing minor coastal flooding potential along the Atlantic shore, and marine winds remain easterly around 10 knots or less. VFR conditions are expected across the TAF sites today. From an aviation perspective, the stable east flow and modest onshore gradient present limited convective risk today, but the moisture increase into Friday points toward elevated afternoon shower chances, particularly east coast. Watch for increased low-level moisture and a surface front that will approach Friday, though rainfall intensity appears modest. Southwest and Central Highlands, New Mexico region. Over central New Mexico, the large-scale pattern features a strong upper-level jet entering the western U.S., a shortwave ridge lee of the Rockies, and a modest shortwave trough crossing the Rockies today. That trough, plus the ensuing downslope westerlies, are producing gusty westerly winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour widespread, with peaks of 35 to 40 plus miles per hour in the Central Highlands corridor, Klein's Corners to Vaughn. The downslope compressional warming is boosting highs well above normal into the upper 70s to low 80s east central. This combined jet ridge trough geometry is classic for wind events in this terrain. A cold front is forecast to arrive Saturday, but today the wind and warm air advection dominate. For pilots, expect headwinds westbound across I-40 alignments and possible crosswinds on north-south highways and terminals in the gap zones. Aviation operations should also note any smoke from prescribed burns lifting into Santa Fe/Albuquerque. Mechanism and synoptic context. Zooming out, the eastern U.S. ridge trough pattern is gradually amplifying, with the southern stream interacting with northern stream features over the next 24 to 48 hours. In Florida, the southern stream shortwave is timed to weaken the mid-level low and open the trough, contributing to moisture return ahead of the frontal passage. In the southwest, the upper-level jet max and shortwave trough enhance momentum transfer and wind support through the lee of the Rockies. Terrain plays a key role in New Mexico with the downslope effect, elevating wind speeds and temperatures east of the central mountain chain. In both regions, mesoscale processes, sea breeze interplay in Florida, gap and downslope in New Mexico, modify the larger scale forcing to create the operationally relevant weather. Operational implications. Florida. VFR dominates today, but rising moisture and the approaching front could elevate thunder shower risk tomorrow. Coastal flooding potential from king tides combined with onshore winds should be factored into marine and littoral operations. New Mexico. Expect strengthened winds and elevated temperatures today. Crosswind risk near terminals and gap zones, and elevated fire weather potential given warm, dry air and wind in prescribed burn areas. Overall, the contrast between a moist, onshore, ridge-driven regime in the southeast and a high-wind, downslope regime in the southwest reflects the diversity of mesoscale impacts layered onto the synoptic pattern. Summary thoughts. In short, Florida is in a transition mode. Low rain today, rising moisture, and a frontal system arriving Friday, with coastal and marine impacts modest but real. The southwest is dominated today by strong westerly winds and compressional warming ahead of an upcoming cold front, with terrain-driven effects central to the forecasting challenge. Across the nation, the interplay of southern and northern stream dynamics, ridge-trough evolution, and regional geography is driving very different weather regimes in these two sectors. For aviation and meteorology professionals, keep the focus on one-terrain interactions in the west, moisture return in the southeast, and timing of the frontal passage in the eastern Gulf region as the pattern evolves.